you know, your ass is hanging out when you're making a 4% beer. One thing I can say about Drake's is the brewers here like to drink, and not to drink, but they like beer. You know, they like to be able to knock a couple beers back. If you grab almost anyone on the staff here and say, hey man, you get to go brew a beer tomorrow. You're gonna brew a one-off for retail. What do you wanna brew? 80% of the recipes that will come across your desk are gonna be under 5% beers because we like drinking beer. You know, if you look at the board back here, I think, 4.4, 4.5, 4.5, 4.6, 4.9. And then, you know, that's, for a brewery, that's a fair commitment to session beers. We don't really think about them as session beers. We just think about them as beers that you could, you know, fucking grab and knock back and still coherently go to a meeting in a couple minutes. That's what we like, and it isn't just session IPAs, it's session beers. It's empowering as a brewer to make beers like that too, because they're not the easiest beers to make. I was the brewmaster at Dogfish Head for a little while, and we made a beer there called Lawnmower Light. It was a 4% light pale ale that we made specifically for our tap room. It never got out of our tap room. And I had brewers that would bitch about it, be like, I've got to brew stupid lawnmower today. I'd be like, look, motherfucker, you don't have the privilege of making 90 minute until you can make a session beer clean and straight. Any idiot can, you know how many flaws you can hide in 9% beer? Do you know how not on your game you have to be to knock out an acceptable 9% beer? Shit that you can get away with in a 9% beer, completely out in a 4% beer, you know? Those beers, there's nowhere to hide. I got a lager on right now called Mellow Glow. If that beer had any flaws whatsoever in it, that'd be all you would taste. 9% beer with a big dry hop and a continual hopping thing going on in the kettle. I remember you, Sir Hops, a lot. You used to clog, and I used to get mad at you. You know, that's different, man. That's easy brewing. And, you know, not to say that, like, you can't write a great 8% IPA recipe, double IPA recipe or anything, but there's just a level of, you know, your ass is hanging out when you're making a 4% beer. It's kind of the same way with, like, honestly, like a Budweiser too. You know, people like to shit on Budweiser, but if that beer had any flaws, you'd notice it because there's nothing else going on in that beer. Session, at least we got some more flavor than that in there, but it's still the same thing where you gotta, like, you know,